So, got that microphone on. Let's get this microphone on too. There we go. Put that one on. Yeah, nope, drops. Oh, on the floor. Oh, hi everybody. I just dropped my microphone on the floor. But anyway, I hope you can hear me now. Get rid of this one. Anyway, thanks for dropping in. I was late coming on. Was on the phone with my mom's nurse from the insurance company, and they're always really helpful, and I learned a lot from them. Mom has been all of her vitals today were really, really good. I mean, her blood pressure was like 129 over 81, heart rate of 81, oxygen level was 97, her blood sugar was 126. I mean, she's doing really well with vital signs wise, but she's really tired and she didn't want to eat. I had fixed her some breakfast this morning that she decided that she didn't want to eat. She ate a couple of bites, and I said, "Mom, you're gonna have to drink some of this nutritional drink too." And so I think she took 2 or 3 sips of that, and then she wanted to go back and lay down in the bed. And so, really concerned. But the vitals are good, which is strange. That's what the nurse was saying too. We did have one incident several days ago, actually, where she had passed out. I was giving her a shower and drying her hair, got her clothes back on, everything was all situated correctly, and drying her hair. And then when I asked her if she wanted to move into the living room, and all the fans were going. I had a big fan in there, and I had the exhaust fan was working and all that stuff, and the air was flowing, but she had passed out sitting in the chair while I was drying her hair. So um, her blood pressure had dropped way down. It wouldn't even register on the blood pressure machine, but monitor. And so got her oxygen. We got oxygen around here. It took a good hour to get her back to being coherent somewhat. And so we're watching everything, the blood pressure medicines, all that kind of stuff. I'm watching closely every day. It is definitely a challenge. It is. And so this is all of what takes place a day in the life of the trans terrorist from Eastern Kentucky. Yep, I'm one of those trans terrorists. This is the training camp. If you want to learn how to, be prepared for the big onslaught, whatever's coming our way, we start right here. We learn how to fix soup, beans, and potatoes. It's pinto beans for all the rest of you who don't know that. Soup, beans, and potatoes and cornbread, and maybe a pork chop every now and then, Boy Scout meals, different desserts, and a lot of times I'll just buy a box of lasagna or even stuffed bell peppers or something like that. Sometimes it's just easier to do it that way. And, just to go get something I can stick in the oven and say, okay, we're going to let that go for about an hour and then come back to it. So that would be the lesson for the day on dealing with the encampment here on Mudlick Holler, okay, for the trans terrorist part. All in the day of life on Mudlick Road. So anyway, yeah, it's been a busy day. Just like I said, just got back. Well, actually got off the phone just about 3 minutes after noon, and so there we are, folks. There we are. So, what'd y'all think about the Hegseth stuff this morning? Anybody? What'd you have to think about that? I thought it was pretty weird, to say the least. It was a pep rally of sorts, but it was also a blatant warning to the admirals and generals who were there: toe the line or resign. That's basically what it amounts to. Toe the line or resign. And if you can't deal with it, resign. If you don't like it, resign. They're going to fire a bunch of people anyway. And when Hegseth and Trump show up to those events like that, all I can think of is they're sizing it up to see who is actually going to be the one with a crazy smirk on their face, so they can get rid of them first. And they made it clear. They made it clear that minorities were not welcome in this. I mean, I'm sure there were women there, admirals and generals and stuff. I'm sure they were there, but I'm wondering how they felt about all that, because they made it very clear that they basically weren't welcome. He said it's going to be gender neutral and based everything based on meritocracy, but that's not the case. You know why I know that? Because the very people that he got rid of were the most qualified to do the job. And that is just ludicrous. I mean, so it's really not. It's not about. It's not about being colorblind, gender neutral, and merit with merit as being the motivating factors. It is not. It's ideological, folks. This is a person who does not, who doesn't feel um, that women have any kind of role in anything. And if you're the men who have been supporting of all of those people, you got DEI stuff somewhere on your social media pages, and if you haven't already got it cleared out and the Wayback Machine hasn't found it, you might be safe, but you're going to be lured if you don't, because Laura and her team and Chase, Dr. Chase Spears, and libs of TikTok, Rychek or whatever her name is, Chai Rychek, they're scrutinizing everything out there and letting Pete know whether or not you should be still part of this team, because they are driving an ideological purity test across the whole of the military right now. And they made it clear at that brown nosing session this morning. Made it very clear there. That's what they're looking for. They're looking to see, are you going to support us? If you have any kind of queasiness feelings, that's what Pete is paraphrasing it, but if you have any kind of queasy feelings about what's going on in the military right now and you don't like this leadership, well, go ahead and resign. And Pete said that. And Trump said that while he was getting on the helicopter to fly down to Guanaco. So it's like, folks, they are turning this thing into an ideological love fest. And I was really sincerely hoping that the admirals and generals would just walk out and cripple the entire operation for Pete Hegseth, because I don't think he is not qualified to run a dog pound. He's not. He's not. Anybody who wants to close out a meeting with the end of a prayer, a Christian prayer, and then I know what he's doing, looking around the room going, these people think that, those people think that, we can get rid of that one right there. They didn't acknowledge that. That person thinks it's not funny. They got a smirk on their face. We can see their faces here. They've got their faces recorded. They know who, and they're going to have a purge. They will purge these people that they don't like, who indicate in the slightest way that they have no interest in the politics of all this. And that baffles me that he would go around, he and Trump go around and say, you don't want it to be a political thing. You want the military to be able to fight without military or political engagement or any kind of considerations. You're a political appointee, Pete. You're a political appointee. The people you have around you are political appointees. So don't tell me that it is free of politics. It is not. It's replete with it, oozes with it. And it's disgusting to me that you would do that, that he would do that. And the only purpose for that meeting was to be able to look people in the eye and see that one right there. He's got a non-supportive look in that one left eye right there. We're going to have to get rid of that person. And then make it clear, he made it clear that this is supposed to be colorblind and merit-based and all of that kind of stuff. That's a load of crap. It really is. And then you kick out the people who do have the skills and qualifications to do things. Because why? Because of your ideology. Your ideology. That doesn't make any sense to me. The hypocrisy is just goofball crazy. Anyway, it has been an interesting day. I'm a little tired. I've been up since before 4 o'clock, but that's only because I wanted to get up and I needed to do some things here, in the room. I'm trying to organize things a little bit differently and all of that. And so it's been a challenge. And then I was telling people about what happened yesterday when I was out mowing my cousin's yard. So guy comes down the road in his old beat up pickup, and he says, I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to go out here and mow all this stuff. We'll do it for you. I can do it for you and everything and take care of it for your cousin. Or they didn't know, that person didn't know that she was my cousin, but I told him. So they didn't know all that, but and I looked at the truck and there's no door handle on it. And he said, "Yeah, you have to kind of figure out how to get in this truck." And I'm looking at the door handle, and what I see in the door handle is actually the window that rolls up and down. I'm thinking, okay, all right. But he was nice. He was courteous and respectful, and and a little flirtatious, as I said in another thing earlier this morning. But that's all right. That's all right. Happens. It happens. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time on here today. I'm kind of tired, and I just wanted to mention a few things that have been taking place. And this is the terrorist training camp up in Mudlick Road in Hardy, Kentucky. You're more than welcome to drop by. But if you do, Pam and Dan and Cash, make sure you bring something. We'll sit out on the front porch and drink a cola or a sweet tea or something like that, or water or whatever you want. And we'll just sit there and rock on the porch, like the rockers in front of Cracker Barrel. Just sit there and do that rocking back and forth, and see what we can have a conversation about. Are you guys good? Come back this evening, 6 o'clock.